Dan, I mean, look, you've done some absolutely fantastic work in Vienna over the weekend. There's no doubt about it. You got the interview that everyone wanted as well. But I just can't help thinking that His Royal Highness won't be happy with the price reaction. It's not quite what I guess he would have hoped for.
Well, I think it's interesting, right, Steve? So this decision shouldn't necessarily come as too much of a shock to the market, because if you read between the lines and listen into what His Royal Highness said only a few days ago in Qatar, he warned against betting against him, right? Saying that the shorts were going to get squeezed. And if you read into that commentary, it basically suggests that he came into this meeting looking and wanting a production cut, looking for and wanting a production cut. And that's exactly what we've seen. Oil prices popping today. Okay, perhaps not to the extent that he would have liked, but still getting a boost after the OPEC Plus ministers decided to roll over their production curbs into 2024. And at the same time, the Saudi energy minister giving this market what he called the Saudi lollipop. That is an additional 1 million barrel cut to production starting next month, with the option to continue to extend that production cut. It very much means that Saudi Arabia is still ultimately in control of this group's production levels. We spoke exclusively about that decision to roll over the curbs and Saudi Arabia's decision to deepen its own production cuts. He says OPEC is now in a do whatever it takes mode in order to ensure market stability into the second half of this year and into 2024. Listen into part of our exchange.
I said it's the icing of the cake. Both, I think, it's very important that people realize that it was not something that was a part of a package, or because I'm sure that there are those who would say it was a tit-for-tat thing. But you have every meaningful way of verifying that not a single person who had attended these meetings had even heard of what number we will do, nor we have forwarded our proposals with this in mind, or we have forwarded this proposal with this thing attached to it. We did that, if you may recall, in February 21, and it went on for, it depends on the situation. Then was much more severe. That's why, we wanted to keep the option that it is extendable, because it is all going to be subject on how things will evolve.
The Saudi Energy Minister, Prince Abdulaziz there. And also important to put this decision into context as well. Of course, it comes as we see weaker Chinese demand really hitting this market, concerns about a US recession and a recession elsewhere around the world, including in countries like Germany, and of course, robust Russian supply into the Asian markets, all impacting oil prices through the month of May. We saw prices declining double digits, in fact, down by more than 10% in the month alone. So OPEC perhaps saw a reason to act here. At the same time, when you dig into the other details of the agreement that's been made here, it's pretty clear that the UAE has walked away as a big winner out of the weekend. Not only have they won this battle to increase their own production quotas, they've been able to do this ahead of COP28 in November, that all-important climate conference coming up. You can tell that the UAE did not want to be negotiating an increase to its own production on the eve of the next meeting, which is going to be happening around the climate conference. And at the same time, Russia is also a winner here as well. They've been able to walk away from the agreement with their relationship with Saudi Arabia still intact, and also not needing to change their production curbs. Of course, Russia has a war to fund, so that works well in their favor. The key questions moving forward, though, are these cuts going to be sustained? Will they be extended? And one other question I've been asking is, how is the United States going to respond? Previously, we've seen the White House accusing Saudi Arabia of siding with Russia on these production cuts when it comes to the war in Ukraine, but we are going to see Secretary of State Antony Blinken in Saudi Arabia next week. That really signals to the market that the White House and the Biden administration is actually okay with this latest production curb. But of course, we'll have to wait and see exactly what Secretary Blinken says. It's back over to you.